This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
It's a shade past 9, and this is the Reimagine India Hour that comes to you on Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 o'clock sharp. It's brought to you by Visa. In this hour, every Monday and Wednesday, we connect with stalwarts and change makers of the country from various walks of life who are reimagining India through their initiatives. An India that is transforming public places with street art, increasing green cover with vertical gardens, celebrating festivals without noise, an India where we can promise our children a better future. Today, Jaymin Shah is country manager at Scott Sports. What's up, Jaymin? Great to see you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Hrishi. How are you doing? Good morning to you as well.
Excellent. Let's talk about Scott Sports, what it means internationally to sports lovers, and how it resonated with your individual brand values for you to play a pivotal role in bringing Scott Sports to India. And then we'll talk about how Scott Sports and yourself are trying to reimagine India through some wonderful initiatives as far as cycling and e-cycling is concerned.
So Scott this year is celebrating our 60th year. The brand was started in 1958 by a gentleman called Ed Scott. We revolutionized the sport of winter sports. We used to make skis, and that's where our sporting journey as a brand kind of started off with in Sun Valley, Idaho. Interestingly enough, in the year 2000, we started off our business on the cycling side of things, and at the Tour de France is where the birth of cycling in that sense for Scott Sports took the first steps. It's an interesting story. There's a cyclist called Greg LeMond. It was an American cyclist.
Greg LeMond. Yeah.
And he won a Tour de France by about 10 seconds in a particular year. So they went back and they analyzed where is it that he won that 10 seconds from. And they realized that he was in the most aero position of all his competitors in the time trial race. And that's when they realized, he's using something which is called as tri-bars on his bicycle, which made him go in the aero position. And those tri-bars were actually designed by Scott, because they reached out to Scott saying, you make ski poles, and skiing is the sport where the human body is in its most aero position. So they said, can you do something like that for cycling? And he just made tri-bars for Greg LeMond, and from there we realized, hang on, we could be in the sports of cycling as well. So that's how the history has been. In India, in the year 2011 is when I met Beat Zog, who's the owner as well as the CEO of Scott Sports internationally. And I said to him, look, I've been selling bicycles all my life. I think there's potential for the Scott brand in India as well. And I think the Indian consumer is ready to experience cycling in a way the international consumers experience that. And he said to me, he looked me up, he said, are you sure? Because all we know about India is that it doesn't have infrastructure, there are cows on the road, and so on and so forth. And I said, look, I think that's a big misnomer that many people who are not in India have. And one thing led to another. We started off with 300 bicycles, and now we are multiples of that. So I think as a brand, we took complete faith on the fact that India and its consumers deserve the best products, and let's offer it to them at a fair price, and let's see how it goes from there on. So that's how essentially Scott entered India.
Also, Jaymin, Scott also retails the Syncross brand of high-performance cycling parts and accessories, which was acquired in 2012. And
yes,
that, I believe, has Canadian roots, and it's used by the Michelin Scott Pro team at all the major cycling events and races around the world. So now that's a famous team, the Michelin Scott Pro team. So talk to me about how that came about.
So the Michelin Scott team actually has its roots in Australia. It's an Australian pro-continental team, and we collaborated with them about 3 years back. We had a Syncross range of accessories and products as part of their team equipment, and it's backed by people who love the sport, who want to back the sport of cycling, and that's how the Australian team owners kind of reached out to us at Scott and said, would we be interested in collaborating with them to form a team? And that's how that collaboration kind of started for us.
Up ahead, our Indian cyclist has done really well for himself, and Jaymin's going to take us through that one. It's the Reimagine India Hour. We're going to be back post the Bangles, Manic Mondays, to see you in a couple of minutes. I'm Hrishikesh.
Hashtag Reimagine India with Hrishikesh. Brought to you by Visa. You reimagine India, Visa reimagines payments.
My most favorite lyric is I don't have to run day. It is a Manic Monday, and we're on the Reimagine India Hour, brought to you by Visa, and it's Jaymin Shah who's in studio. He's country manager at Scott Sports, and we're going to be talking about the Indian cyclist who's done exceptionally well for himself.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
So since you are involved with all things cycling and all things sports, what is the Dakar Rally and what is its significance?
The Dakar Rally is the most difficult motorsports rally in the world. It traverses deserts, it traverses countries, and it's come to now been universally accepted as a motocross rider's ultimate aim. It's the World Cup of motorsports, if you might want to call it that.
Wow. Okay, and we have an Indian cyclist who did very well for himself, and I believe his name is C.S. Santosh.
He's a motorcyclist. We're in the sports of... Scott also is in the sports of motorsports. And CS is the most phenomenal motorsports rider in this country.
Wow.
He's 36, but he, in a sense, has been the flag bearer for the sport. And he's been phenomenal. We've started working with him about a year back, and we support him with his equipment requirements for the race. And he's from Bangalore. He races as part of a team which has supported his endeavors over the last few years. And this year was his best finish by an Indian at the Dakar, which was the 34th position, which I think is phenomenal. And I can see...
I would imagine thousands take part.
Oh, easily. And it's not only just two wheels, but four wheels, and that's how the race is. But I mean, that's just a wonderful story to follow as far as CS is concerned, because I mean, he's come through the ranks, and today to be where he is credit to the effort that he puts in.
So let's do a small little rewind. Now, CS came through your support from the motorsports division.
Correct.
So talk about the motorsports division. Obviously, it was a slightly late entrant. You started off with the basic cycling division, and then motorsports, and the fact that you're building all these wonderful athletes.
So look, I mean, as a brand, we are a multi-sport brand. We have cycling, we have motorsports, skiing, and running. These are the four sports that we actively support. We have products for which we retail through our retailers. So about a year back, we decided that the sport of motorsports is also a growing community, and I mean, that's where we see a lot of people interested in it. So a year back, we launched our motorsports division, and that's where we got speaking to CS, because he was the best guy to go to. At the end of the day, he is, in that sense, if I may use that comparison, he is the Sachin Tendulkar of motorsports for this country. And that's been our journey. It's been just 12 months. We are still learning the tricks of the trade over there, but I think as our business philosophy goes, we got to take everything step by step. And I'm sure that as we've done with our bicycle division, our motorsports division is also going to continue from
go on from strength to strength.
Go on from strength to strength.
And in that aspect, I believe running shoes is another one of your concern areas. Have you already launched that particular division? Are you going to be getting into it? How does that work?
We launch that division in the next 3 months, but it's important to note here that we specialize in trail running. So our shoes are made for people who do the comrades, who do trail running, who are not running on the roads, but essentially on forest trails, on gravel, and so on and so forth. So that's the area of specialty that we make our running shoes in.
I would imagine that somebody like Scott and somebody like yourself, when you're getting into a startup environment in India and you're launching all these products, you would have extensive research on the kind of numbers that people, or if there is enough of a demand for people who are trail running. Is there in this day and age?
Look, trail running is a natural transition from marathon running. For runners who essentially want to test their endurance, trail running is the next step. So a marathon essentially ends at 40 kilometers, right?
Correct.
There is no road running event that goes above and beyond 42 kilometers. And that's where trail running kind of takes off. For people who want to test their endurance, run the Comrades, which is 80 kilometers or 100 kilometers ultra runs, or even 120 kilometer ultra runs. But because, and across the world, you're not going to find really the space or the length to run a 100-kilometer marathon, right? So that's where I think this trail running as a sport has kind of taken up, and it's still a niche segment, but I think that's a growing segment which requires specific equipment which is suited to trail running and not road running.
Well, I know for a fact that when I go into the Borivali National Park, I see enough people, with their running shoes in tow, changing into them and then doing a fair amount of trail running. So if that's anything to go by, then we're moving beyond marathon running, which is a good thing. Yeah. So come on, just give out the website. Yeah.
It's www.scott-sports.com.
And that Scott is with a double T, so SCOTT, right?
Correct.
We're going to be back with Jaymin Shah. It's Billy Idol, Cradle of Love at 9:15. I'm Hrishikesh.
Hashtag Reimagine India with Hrishikesh. Brought to you by Visa. You reimagine India, Visa reimagines payments.
We're streaming live audio across the nation on www.onecast.in, numeral 1cast.in, and only if you're not driving, statutory warning, then we're streaming video on facebook.com/radio1.mum. See you in a few minutes.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Jaymin Shah's dream really is that every Indian invests on their health by buying a proper good quality bicycle, and Scott Sports is what he represents in India. Multidiscipline as far as sports is concerned, and we're in conversation about some stellar things that are happening. An Indian called C.S. Santosh, who finished the Dakar rally this year at a credible 34th, and we're talking thousands of people across the world who come in and take part in that one, and Scott Sports supporting that. Okay. Now, interestingly, Aditya Daftari has sent out a message saying that you and a prominent British coach have really helped them out. So, tell us what this was about. This is a cycle rally for doctors, yeah?
Yes.
And who's the British coach?
2 years back, there was a Wheels Don't Stop challenge where a group of doctors cycled from Delhi to Bombay non-stop. That's where we worked with them and we provided them tech support. But through that collaboration, we got introduced to Nigel. Now, little did we know the first time when we met him, we realized that he's today the most qualified cycling coach in the country, and coaching in that sense is a very specific job. You don't necessarily need to.
So he's India based, is it?
Yes, he's based in India actually, and he is a coach certified by the British Cycling Federation, and that's the same federation which has given the world of cycling some great cyclists, and right from Bradley Wiggins to Chris Froome. And he is a level 3 accredited coach who works with our athlete program. He works with the Scott sponsored cycling athletes, and he helps get their game up in a very scientific and a step-by-step manner.
Wonderful. Okay, now what I think is the next level of evolution, if India were to become a healthy country and people would take up cycling as more than just to have a hobby but an overriding passion, the e-bicycle, what really is that?
So a e-bicycle is actually a pedal assisted cycle. A lot of people most of the times confuse it with a throttle driven bicycle, which is not the case here. This is a pedal assisted bicycle which essentially supports up to speed of 25 kilometers per hour, but then it's down to the cyclist. He needs to keep pedaling. So it essentially is a extremely helpful tool in commuting or going up mountains, or even going from point A to point B in an absolutely efficient manner. It is good for people who have any sort of medical conditions, who can't put the same stress on cycling, but they want it slightly easier for them. An e-bike is essentially an awesome exercise tool for them as well.
So you're saying that anybody with a chronic medical condition who can't normally use a regular cycle could work with this. And how does it work? What is the physics of it? The science of it?
So essentially, if you look at a normal bicycle, the logic is this, that a single speed bicycle, the moment you pedal, a rotation of a pedal is equivalent to one single rotation of the wheel. That's the basic logic of a simple single speed bicycle. But what an e-bike essentially does is it delivers power to the pedal, so that when a single rotation is made, the wheel is actually covering more distance than just a single rotation. So that's essentially, to put it in a simple term, that's how an e-bike essentially functions.
Curious to know, I mean, as far as your products are concerned, do you have standalone stores? Are you across specialist stores around the country? How does it work in India and then internationally?
So we've always followed the multi-brand outlet model. We sell through our dealer networks, but at the same time, we have 5 Scott technology centers spread across the country, which are essentially Scott-dominated stores where the consumer can get access to all the Scott products that we retail in the country. But those are still multi-brand outlets, Scott-dominated. But
give me a few that are here in Mumbai city.
The first one in Mumbai actually starts up next month in Navi Mumbai, and we have one in Bangalore, in Surat, in Coimbatore, and in Imphal.
Okay, so how does this work? One goes onto the website and then selects the closest dealer. Do you have a area-wise dealer thing on the website?
Yes, we have a dealer locator where you just put in your city or your PIN code and you will get routed to the nearest dealer in your city.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, up ahead, he's going to tell us about a very interesting experiment, like a rush hour race. Yeah, Jaymin Shah, country manager at Scott Sports, is in studio. It's Sonique and Sky. See you in a couple of minutes.
Hashtag Reimagine India with Hrishikesh. Brought to you by Visa. You reimagine India. Visa reimagines payments.
It's Sonique, Sky at 9:36 in the Reimagine India Hour. Is Jaymin Shah, country manager at Scott Sports, talking e-biking, cycling, and now, most interestingly so, a rush hour experiment.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
So tell us about this experiment that you're doing, and who are the participants, where can people follow the action, and what is the primary objective of doing this rush hour race experiment?
So, interestingly enough, a few weeks back, we were sitting at a dealer's outlet in Thane, and he's one of the guys who actually started off with a proper bicycle store about 10 years back. His name is Joe George, and he owns Hebron Adventures in Thane, which sells bicycles. We were discussing, and he said, urban commuting is such a pain, and I wish that people could ride to their work on bicycles. And that idea kind of got developed, and he said, why not put it to test, given the fact that we have e-bicycles, we have cyclists, we have road cyclists, we have hybrid cyclists, and then there are guys who travel in trains and buses. It would be interesting to kind of time them on a particular day from point A to point B, and see who reaches the first, right? So it is an experiment which kind of could resonate across all cities in the country as well, because what today Bombay has troubles with, I'm sure Bangalore or Delhi has the same issues with respect to traffic. And that's where we kind of said, let's kind of put this to test. Let's get people who can travel, who commute on a regular basis, let's put them on a bicycle, on an e-bicycle, and time them and compare that with their regular times that they actually take if they take their car to work, let's say. So that's essentially the source of this race, where we started discussing. We were supported by Suwajit, who heads an automotive company, interestingly enough. And I said to him, Suwajit, you got to be very careful, because you are an automobile company guy who's going to now ride. So I just hope you don't get into trouble with your bosses. And he said, no, look, he said to me, no, but this is something that interests him, because he cycles a lot as well in his free time. So we're going to have this race, and I request our listeners to kind of tune into our Facebook page to follow the action. We will be covering this live, and we will be publishing when we are going to do this in the next week.
And you did say it could either be this particular Friday or early next week, which could be Monday.
So we essentially want to keep it on a Monday, because that's when everybody is in a rush to reach from point A to point B after the weekend. So that's where we are targeting this race to happen. So or a social experiment.
Yeah, this is a Scott Sports India Facebook page. So maybe you can get on there and you can just follow the action. So I imagine you're going to get them to cycle for a bit, take the e-bike for a bit. Have you devised a format for it?
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to have individuals.
Okay.
If there is an individual on an e-bike, then he starts off on an e-bike and he ends
in an e-bike.
In an e-bike.
Okay.
And if a gentleman who travels by bus, then he's got to start off his journey on a bus and end it on a bus.
Nice.
So that's essentially how we're going to compare timings.
And likewise, for a person who's on a bicycle, will finish on a bicycle,
Exactly.
and a person on a train will finish on a train.
Exactly.
Yeah. And last mile connectivity in case they take an auto.
That's all part of their regular commute. So that will be a part of
That's pretty interesting, man. And then you will publish the results, I imagine, on your Facebook page,
yes.
so that people can actually find out that it might not be a bad idea to take that bicycle or that e-bike over your motor car. Yeah.
Look, I think some basic research tells us that the average speeds during peak hours is not more than 25 kilometers an hour. And that's a speed that a cyclist can easily achieve over a long distance. So I think we're pretty sure or we're pretty hopeful in that sense that the e-bicycle and the cyclist are actually winning this race over the automobiles.
And I imagine, that would also give an incentive for corporates to actually create credits for staff who use efficient methods of commuting. I mean, that in itself is a Reimagine India objective, yeah?
When we set up our office here in India, one of our biggest point of negotiations with the office owner was that he's got to allow bicycle parking within the building, and that was a strange request for them because they said, hey, we make parkings for cars and bikes, but we don't have cycle parkings. But that was one of our preconditions before we actually entered that building, and we said, listen, we need parking slot for all our employees who come in on bicycles. So I think it's something that there are challenges, but I think if we look beyond those challenges, it's something that organizations should definitely promote as a culture, as well as not only just commuting, but also kind of promoting health. Because the moment you start cycling, you're looking at a much active and a much healthier workforce.
Absolutely. We're going to come back and have a last leg of conversation with Jaymin Shah on the Reimagine India Hour, where he talks in great detail about this, which is how he reimagines India, his idea of a reimagined India. If you have any questions or comments, this is the time I'm going to read them all out on air. So get cracking. It's one space your comment or one space your question and name to 53650. 53650 is the in-studio SMS line. On Twitter as well as Facebook, you go to the search bar, you type HRISHIKAY, a verified blue tick marked Twitter handle as well as Facebook page will pop up. You could tweet out your question or comment along with your name or post on the timeline inbox along with your name on Facebook and facebook.com/radio1.mum, our official page. There again, a comment or question for Jaymin Shah on the timeline or inbox, and I will bring it up on the show. For those of you who are not driving, who are in the backseat of a radio taxi being chauffeur driven or at home or at the office, we're streaming video live on Periscope as well as Twitter now at HRISHIKAY. Still streaming audio online across the nation, www.onecast.in, numeral 1cast.in, and of course on Mumbai radio sets at 94.3 on the FM band. Here's Rudimental and Jess Glynn along with Macklemore, These Days. Back post this and some messages for a last leg of conversation with Jaymin Shah, country manager, Scott Sports. 9:43, I'm Hrishikesh. Jamelia Superstar, last leg of conversation in the Reimagine India Hour with Jaymin Shah, country manager at Scott Sports.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Okay, how do you reimagine India? Talk me through that.
Hrishi, I have always believed that sports is a great nation builder. It's a great team builder, and I think somewhere I believe that we as Indians need to become a lot more sportier. We need to play sports, whatever that may be, because I think that's going to contribute a lot to nation building. When you play a sport, you're looking at it very cleanly. You're not worried about what caste, what creed you are in. Your teammates come from different walks of life, but you kind of get together and fight a common goal of winning the sport or winning the game that you're playing that day. So I think sport in that sense will play a massive role in getting India to where it is, whether it's skill building, whether it's team building, or if we look at making Indians as a workforce a healthier and a fitter bunch of people.
In that aspect, we've got a couple of comments. There's last four digits are 3433. You haven't given your name on SMS. Jaymin talked about parking, not just parking, but offices need to have shower facilities. And also on Twitter, we've got Anurag. Anurag, your handle is at Mr. Iyer. Offices would need showers too if employees came cycling. Talk about people getting onto cycles and reimagining India in that aspect, which is, your core competence as far as Scott Sports is concerned. And the fact that, this is another thing. I noticed in Bangalore, for example, a lot more companies have shower facilities.
So look, I think one of the things when people start commuting on bicycles is that, it not only just contributes to the environment and helps in reducing cars on the roads, but at the same time, when the cyclist reaches his office, he's going to be sweating. And as a result of which, he needs to have shower facilities where corporates need to arrange for those within their offices. And you're right about Bangalore, because if I have to go back about 10 or 15 years, Bangalore was the first city where cyclists started to pop up. And essentially, that was also because of the experience that IT brought to the table, where people went to Europe, America on projects, and they saw the lifestyle there, and they wanted to come back and commute to work or spend more time on a bicycle. So I think that's where it started off from. But I think that's where we need to have corporates across all the major metros arranging for these shower facilities or parking facilities, as I mentioned earlier, within their office compounds.
And like you said, HR to provide some incentives on efficient modes of transport.
I think that would be the cherry on the cake if HR was to incentivize people on the method that they travel.
Pooja Punjabi on Twitter, a lot of focus on the looks and improved mechanical aspects of the bicycle, but a comfortable seat is often overlooked. Any comments on that, Jaymin?
Look, I think the bicycle in its nature is something that you can change the way you want it as per your requirement. So if a saddle needs to be changed to a more comfortable, a more wider, or a gel fill saddle, that's an option that a consumer today has.
So basically buy it and then modify it.
Exactly. We have something which is called as Build Your Vision, where we offer the consumer the option of buying just the frame set and then putting on components as per his or her own wish, thereby kind of customizing the bicycle experience for each individual.
Okay, Jaymin Shah had some great ideas on how he would reimagine India, just like Visa is reimagining payments by offering various new ways to pay. Dip to pay with debit and credit cards, tap to pay with contactless cards, scan to pay with Bharat QR, or click to pay on e-commerce sites. Now, tell us how you want to reimagine India for the better, and you will win a movie voucher from Radio 1. SMS 1 space how you wish to reimagine India, space your name, type it and send it to 53650. 53650 is the in-studio SMS line. On Twitter as well as Facebook, you go to the search bar, you type HRISHIKAY, and you give us your thoughts. You tweet them out along with your name on how you reimagine India, or you could hashtag reimagine India and post on the timeline inbox on Facebook. You could also tag Visa IND at Visa IND in your post. Facebook.com/radio1.mum is our official page. There again, post on the timeline inbox along with the hashtag Reimagine India how you would reimagine India, and you'll win a movie voucher. Crystal from Radio 1 Contest will call you and give you that movie voucher. Jaymin, wonderful chat. Thanks for your time and all the best to you in Scott Sports.
Thank you, Hrishi. Thank you for having me here today.
Fahad Samar on a special on the Oscar winners and what we can expect from cinema in 2018. Don't go anywhere.
Hashtag Reimagine India with Hrishikesh. Brought to you by Visa. You reimagine India. Visa reimagines payments.
94.3 Radio 1.